Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. We have some exciting news today. It's April 8th. We're officially 6 days. We're almost 1 week into Liberation Day, and we're still here. We survived Black Monday, which is a congrats to all of you guys. It was going to be on Sunday night. You would have thought it would have been the worst day in trading history, not only stocks, but also crypto. And we survived. So welcome in, everybody. Say GM. Let's bring in Rodney. Rodney, how are we doing today?
Are we feeling liberated, Jake?
No. Are you? Yeah, we're gonna feel so rich. You're gonna feel tired. You're gonna be so tired of being rich. How rich do you feel?
Not very. And
pretty poor.
Yeah, I'm not tired of winning yet because we haven't started yet. So when that happens, I'm sure I'll get tired of it though.
You're going to be tired of winning. You're going to be so sick of winning.
Yeah. Now I'm fucking around. But the market's recovering. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people bend. We'll see. There's some troubling news that I saw. I don't know how legit it is, but we have multiple people reporting that apparently China is getting involved in the war in Ukraine.
I think that we somewhat knew that, right? China's big allies with Russia.
That's bad.
they were supporting Russia, though, for the entire war.
Troops. I mean, like troops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what's up with that. But yeah. A lot of it's all over. The world's gonna end, baby. We're going to war with China, Jake.
That's what you've always been thinking, right? That's what we've kind of been leaning towards.
Yeah. And
not something that we want, because I've seen China. They have these like robot dogs that are AI that can shoot rockets and shit. So
oh hell no.
Diashada saying good morning, white and black chocolate.
God damn.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here. That gives me PTSD.
Yeah, a little. Wait, good morning, white and black. Wait, it doesn't give you PTSD.
I'll stay off stream. Can't say it on stream. Can't say it on stream.
You nasties.
I will tell you guys. But let's get into it. So I woke up to a nice little bounce in the cryptocurrency markets. Not really sure if we're still bouncing today. Good morning, Doe. Good morning, Solana. Good morning to Armin Clark, Obaid, Slick. Slick in here.
JR,
Samuelino. Alpha for breakfast. Let's go, homie, says JR. JR looks like a Chad, though, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, JR is absolutely. Look at that fucking black. I love a good black tight tee.
I'm wearing one right now.
It's not tight, though.
No, it's not tight. And I got like a little, I think it's a toothpaste stain, but anyways.
Hey, you like that sometime, yeah.
Just did the ice bath, and we're feeling good today. Now, in other news, let's get into the cryptocurrency prices, and then we'll get into all the news here today. So, interesting week for cryptocurrency, guys. Interesting month. Wow, I just noticed something. Look up top, Roddy. We just fell into extreme fear.
Oh, wow.
19, extreme fear. I think I do feel like neutral, below neutral, maybe some fear in the markets, but I definitely don't feel extreme fear. But that's just because there's a lot of uncertainty, which we'll cover today. So crypto is actually up. I don't even want to say it's up. We're pretty much even where we were.
I would say so, yeah.
I can't call 0.07% up. I can't. Although it is in the green. It's better than down like 3% like we were the other day. Bitcoin, 78,433. Let's just take a look at what happened today. So we did see Bitcoin break above $80,000 per Bitcoin. Almost 81 if it didn't hit 81. 80,669. And even earlier this morning, Friday, we were back above 80,000. We have now fallen down below $78,000 per Bitcoin. Ethereum, I don't even want to talk about it.
I know, dude. What a disappointment, man.
I don't even want to talk about it. Look at this. Down. So first off, we were already down like 100%. Yeah. Now we're down an additional 18% on the week. Good news. Tether only down 0.004%. Not looking bad there for Tether. That's a joke. XRP at $1.90. As we talked about, 189 was the 52-week moving average or 52-day moving average for XRP. BNB is at 558. Oh my God, look at this, Roddy. Good news. Number 6, USDC is at $1.
Hey.
Trying to celebrate all the wins, right? We didn't depeg yet.
No depegging, yeah.
Solana at 107. Micro stopped buying. That's a red flag. We don't know that for sure. Unless they said we stopped buying.
Yeah.
If they did, their strategy's fucking stupid. Top blast and don't buy the dips.
That's
not going to make it.
Yeah.
Dogecoin, $22 billion market cap. Not much movement from yesterday. Tron, 23 cents. Cardano's at 60 cents. Toncoin, $3. Chainlink, $11. Stellar Lumens is at 23 cents. Avalanche is actually up on the day. Up to $17. Yeah, it was at $16 yesterday.
Hedera too, yeah.
Hedera H-bar. Although Hedera H-bar was down significantly. So up 10%. Shiba Inu at a $6.5 billion market cap. Sui holding strong at $2. Polkadot, similar with ETH. What's up, Jayhawk? How you doing, brother? I don't even want to talk about Polkadot. I think my average buy on Polkadot's about $20.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Dude, it went to $55. So I was buying on the way down in 2022. $25, $20, $15 when it got lower. I didn't stop buying. And then let's see where Pepe's at. Do we unload our entire portfolios and net worths into Pepe? Well, it's at a $2.583 billion market cap, Rodney. Is this a good buy or not for Pepe? Tell me. $2.5 billion market cap, or is there more pain coming for Pepe?
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to call the exact bottoms. I think this week is huge for just the space in general, and it all has to do with what the fuck is going on outside of crypto, because literally we have some pretty bullish news for crypto this morning as a whole. I mean, there's one big piece of news, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But, it all has to do with this tariff situation. A lot of uncertainty. Crypto's a risky asset. And although we thought it decoupled, there's a big influencer called, I think it's Benjamin
Cohen.
Yeah. He actually made a point that when the stock market was dumping, he said crypto usually follows. We'll wait till the weekend, and he was spot on. So
he was spot on, right? Because we were all a little bit surprised after Liberation Day. Stocks had two of the worst days back-to-back history. Bitcoin was still trading at $83,000. And then we saw crypto start to dump as well. So into the cryptoverse, I believe is his name. He always has a saying, which I don't really understand. It's like, wait till ETH comes home. Wait till ETH opens the door, and then it will close the door, some shit like that. I don't know exactly what he's saying. OG's saying to look at PopCat. OG, I bought PopCat. I bought the top of PopCat. I'm kind of scared to look. I'm still holding. Weedcoin is like Bitcoin, but way higher. I kind of like that.
Weedcoin?
I don't know. It's funny. Like Bitcoin, but way higher. Get it? Way higher.
We love that.
Okay. So we'll take a look at the meme coin market in just a bit. So Rodney, the big news yesterday, for those that weren't with us on the show, we had a couple countries bend the knee. We had Netanyahu. What's up, Jane? How you doing? We had Netanyahu come to America to visit Donald Trump. We had Vietnam and other countries in Southeast Asia start to bend the knee. We had the EU say that they will do 0-for-0 tariffs with the U.S. And then we had China say that they were going to impose an additional 34% tariff on U.S. goods, in which Donald Trump gave them a deadline to, I think it was today, right? April 8th.
Yeah.
China does not take those 34% tariff additionals away, 34% additional tariffs away. We will impose an additional 50% tariff on China. Did China take them away? Where are we sitting with that?
So we'll get into that here if you want to pull up my screen here. So obviously, and real quick, though, I do want to mention this before we get into this, because we're going to be talking about tariffs pretty much this entire stream and geopolitical shit. So the latest, so Justice Department dismantles crypto unit as President Trump further reduces regulation of digital assets. So we're deregulating digital assets. There's no more Justice Department crypto unit anymore. So I think that was one of the things.
Wasn't that newly formed too?
After Joe Biden,
Well, I thought that, remember, after Hayden Davis rugged us on Libra for $100 million, SEC came out and developed like a crypto task force.
No, but this is the Justice Department, so a little different. So that's dismantled. So crime is absolutely illegal again. But this was a big piece of news. Obviously, when it comes to Canada and Mexico, we're kind of just we're loose with them, right? We're letting they're our closest trade partners. When it comes to like trading, you can't put the clamps down on your people that logistically make sense. And our closest trading partners are Canada and Mexico. They border us. So ending trade with them would be crazy. Make it hard would be crazy. Obviously, China's in the land far, far away, right? But check this out. So China's stated that it'll, quote, fight to the end if the U.S. imposes new tariffs following President Trump's threat of a 50% additional tariff.
What does fight to the end mean, Rodney? I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Like, it's not like they didn't say, like, hey, we're going to impose more tariffs. They impose more tariffs. It said we're going to fight to the end.
Yeah, and a little nugget here. When Trump was holding up the tariff sign, it said Taiwan on there, which China doesn't recognize Taiwan. They recognize the Chinese Taipei. So I thought that was interesting that U.S. is kind of just sending little jabs to them. You know what I mean? And this next piece of news. So China says the U.S. isn't serious about trade talks. China and the rest of the world are determined to fight a trade war to the end. But the thing is, like, I think we're in a position where we're really just trying to fuck China. That's the kind of conclusion I've drawn over the last 24 hours. Jake, I saw Jake at the gym last night, and I was listening to some video. One of my favorite guys, Patrick Boyle, and he talked about how when Trump came out with these tariffs, these reciprocal tariffs, like we're literally putting reciprocal tariffs on Madagascar. I mean, I think Madagascar has like a GDP of like $503. Like, we're kind of fuck those people. And then a pretty much deserted island that's only occupied by like penguins. So a lot of it didn't make sense, and it sounded like ChatGPT made the reciprocal tariffs. But I think this is like a master plan to fuck China because they're a growing threat militarily and economically. Just my opinion. I don't know what you think about that. But another piece of news was Ukrainian President Zelensky says Chinese soldiers are fighting in the war alongside Russia. Now, obviously, economically, and with weapons, we support whatever. That's how it's always been, right? We'll send weapons. They'll send weapons. Troops on the ground is another story, and that could be an escalation.
Do we actually believe everything that Zelensky says? That's my question.
5'4" in attitude. 5'4" in attitude.
Is it just coming from him, or do we actually have like proof that there are Chinese soldiers? Because if it's just coming from him, it could just be a talking point.
I've seen multiple not from this. I've seen 2 other pages that are not related, but maybe they copied Bricks News. I don't know. Bricks News, obviously, Bricks is not. It's like
Bricks is good. Bricks is pretty good. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, how do you feel if you're Russia? Like the U.S. has provided Ukraine with hundreds of billions of dollars and a bunch of missiles. How do you feel about NATO and Germany and France and England?
But there's no troops on the ground, though.
I get it. But at the end of the day, if I was a president and I was in charge of a country that was at war, I would still take that as a act of violence, right? Canada sending over 13 fighter pilots or fighter jets. Yeah, those are all acts of war. So whether that's actually to me worse to send drones and missiles and bombs. It's actually worse than sending a guy with a gun, in my personal opinion. I get what you mean.
Kinda.
It's the same shit to me. It's still an act of war.
Yeah, I get it. And it makes sense, but it's different when you have your people on the ground. And this is a good point. GSG says, Rodney, they have to put tariffs on those little countries to close loopholes. For example, China will use Madagascar to ship things and say it's not Chinese goods, it's Madagascar goods, which makes sense. When I was looking over like some videos yesterday, I just thought that this thing was kind of just rolled out not like there was no comprehensive plan. They just kind of put it out there. And I wish they would have started doing it slower and try to work with trading partners, a little more.
I agree. I think that one of the reasons why they don't is because the U.S. makes pretty much, and politicians especially, make pretty much every single decision based off of elections, right? So if Donald Trump was to roll out these tariffs over a 2-year period, it probably would take longer for these tariffs to get resolved, right? But if you just hit them all at once, you have the pain now, the stock market crashes, and then in 2 years when it's time to vote again, the stock market's at all-time highs, the tariff war has been resolved, people are more likely to stay and vote Republican. Now, today, Donald Trump won the election in a pretty close victory, right? I mean, he swept the swing states, but in terms of like the general population, it was pretty close. I would imagine that if the Democrats rolled out Gavin Newsom today, he would probably be leading in favor of Donald Trump just because of how bad this tariff situation has been taken by the public. So I think you kind of just roll it out quickly, and that's what we saw. And then that way you can heal a little bit quicker.
Yeah, but Roddy doesn't like the whack. He likes it slow. So, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't even know what that means.
I think that's when it comes to rolling out the tariffs. But the flip side to that is that a lot of Americans are not exposed to the stock market. They just want a fucking job, right? And survive. So that's interesting. Now, there's been so much shit that's been going on in the last 24 hours. I think we should just go through chronologically on Watch a Guru and see some big talking points here. So one of the things that happened was BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says, quote, "We're probably in a recession right now." So that's interesting. European Union proposes 25% tariff on U.S. goods. Israel agrees to eliminate trade barriers and trade deficit with the United States, which is interesting. Elon Musk's brother said tariffs are a permanent tax on American consumer because it is an attack. It's a tax on American consumers. Because if you think about it, like Apple, like Nike, like these fast sweeping tariffs, like it's going to be hard for these big companies to pivot right away, and they can do it. They got money, but Joe Schmo and mom and pop shops and whatever farmers and shit like that make it affected the most,
Agreed.
So this is interesting. So President Trump says other countries are now offering things that we wouldn't have
like
ever.
Give us an example.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was interesting. And this is a little video about the negotiation. So check this out.
I think that right now we're managing a massive number of requests for negotiations. It's actually logistically quite challenging just to go through them. It's something that I've been spending a lot of the time this morning doing because at NSC and NEC, what we have to do is prioritize the meetings for the president. And there are so many to go through that, we're actually getting ready to present a plan for him on, who and when. But he obviously prioritizes 2 of our closest allies and trading partners, Japan and Korea. And the word out of those conversations was really positive, and positive really for American workers, American farmers. There are a heck of a lot of concessions on the table. In the end, the president, of course, is going to be the one who decides whether the deal is good enough to change his mind about the tariff.
So apparently we have a lot of people coming to the table. I hope so. I mean, who knows when it comes to these sorts of things, it's hard to tell, but I do hope that we have a lot of people coming to the negotiating table, right?
I think that they are slowly but surely. I mean, like we said, it's only been 6 days since this has happened. This was kind of interesting. What was this about?
I don't know. So the Chinese embassy in the US just tagged Donald Trump,
And they deleted it too.
Yeah, that's weird.
I know they tagged him. The Chinese embassy in the U.S. tagged real Donald Trump and deleted it. Weird. All part of the negotiation, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going on there. So we heard that 70 countries have reached out to President Trump to negotiate
There you go.
new trade deals. Treasury Secretary Bessent said.
There you go. That's beautiful news.
Exactly. Now this is interesting. President Trump says he might not reduce tariffs in Israel because we give Israel billions of dollars. Now, I think this is a psyop. I think that there's so much pushback from the public. Like, why the fuck are we supporting Israel? And that's okay, but we can't support Ukraine. I think a lot of people are saying, like, that's their reasoning. And a lot of people are under the impression that, Israel kind of just pulls the strings in the background.
That would be very, very interesting. Does he say this in front of Netanyahu?
I think so.
Play the clip.
You'll play it up, yeah.
Well, we're talking about a whole new trade. Maybe not. Don't forget, we help Israel a lot. We give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a lot. Congratulations, by the way. That's pretty good. But we give Israel billions of dollars a year.
Wow.
Billions.
So that's interesting, and that's kind of the same vibe we kind of felt, when he was speaking about Ukraine. Like, hey, what do we get, kind of deal. But I just think, in my opinion, since there's a lot of like far right people who are like, they really hate Israel and they really hate anybody Jewish, which is crazy because it's just racist out there, right? They are like, it's like a conspiracy theory that they control everything, Obviously with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, like there's a lot of like deep-seated like beef between, you could say, conservative Christians and Jewish people. Like there's a lot of beef going on online, and you guys see it. It's all over my fucking X. There's a lot of crazy shit like that. But I think that they're just one of our biggest allies, and we want to protect them for whatever reason.
There's obviously a reason. I mean, it's like they're really one of our only allies in the Middle East too, right? You look at Iran, you look at all these other countries, Iraq, Afghanistan. It's like they hate Americans, right? And
Sure.
Israel loves the U.S. and we do keep them alive essentially with our security.
Yep.
But we also give them $4 billion a year. It was interesting. Like I like how he negotiates, though, right? Like to have the president, the prime minister of Israel there, and say we give them $4 billion a year. That's a lot. Congratulations, by the way, right? He's just hinting like, hey, we have power over you. We have power over you.
Yeah, and GSG makes a good point. He says, because Israel share with us military equipment and information, Ukraine was the most corrupt country in the world. And yeah, they were God's chosen people, so that helps. So yeah, you know what I mean? That does make sense. We know the history with the Bidens and Ukraine, very corrupt. He knows a lot of like hearsay about, obviously, what's his name? What's their
Hunter?
Prime Minister? No, what the fuck?
Netanyahu?
No, what's the fuck?
Zelensky.
I can't believe I forgot his name. But yeah, he's like, profiting on this war and those sorts of things.
And Biden, yeah, he got paid millions of dollars to work at Burisma, right? Like, it's like, what was he doing there? And why did Joe Biden pardon? They're like, Joe, are you going to pardon your son Hunter? No, not at all. No chance. Instantly, last day, pardons Hunter, pardons his whole family, pardons Fauci from the year 2014, which is very confusing. Like, why do you do that?
Yeah, and we have the chat here saying that the Jews do control everything, which, I mean, they do own a lot of the big businesses, They got Kanye's ass, like, even though Kanye's off his fucking rocker, obviously,
Yeah.
So interesting, right? So we did get this big piece of news that Chinese yuan falls to the lowest level in 2 years. Now, guys, make no mistake, China is suffering from this. And a lot of people say, there's a lot of people, and I see this online saying that we would get beat by their military, they have better technology than us, they have more soldiers, which is true, that they're on the up and up, and everything's happy, fun time, sunshine, and rainbows there. I mean, one of our most popular streamers, iShowSpeed, who's like the most popular streamer in the world, was pretty much like a tour in China where they pretty much portrayed like everything you've been told about China is a lie. It's really nice here, which we know about communist countries, and they put on their best show for foreigners and those sorts of things. But they're hurting too. And this is why they're responding in this way, because they don't want to be punked around. They're considering this blackmail and those sorts of things,
It'll be interesting how they take it. But at the end of the day, it's like, Trump ran on like peace, right? He ran on stopping wars. So at the end of the day, we want less wars. We definitely don't want beef with China, but there is a big trade deficit, right?
Yeah.
There is. I mean, we have a $1.1 trillion. That's a lot of money, Rodney. Think about how much 100 million is, 500 million, a billion. It's 1,000 billions in trade deficit, right? 1,000 billions.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So I think that Trump's hardballing, and I think that Xi Jinping is as well. And it's going to be a tough negotiation like we knew. This is interesting. Mr. Tanker says this is going to make China invade Taiwan.
That'd be huge. It could. I mean, that would obviously. Why
would this force China to invade Taiwan though?
You think about it, like, because we're going to hurt their economy really bad, and Taiwan is. I mean, they have one of the biggest economies, and when you think about like their not GDP, but just like the average income of like I forgot I just had that number, per like citizen there. I mean, they're prosperous there because they, do all the semiconductors. And that's why I think Donald Trump wants to bring, the semiconductor industry back to the United States so we don't have to rely on getting our chips from them because it's so close to China. I don't even know I wonder if the U.S. would intervene if they invaded Taiwan,
I don't think so. Right. I mean, is Taiwan like a close ally of ours,
Yeah, we're pretty close with them.
Are we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, China calls them Chinese Taipei. We call them Taiwan. China doesn't recognize them as Taiwan. It'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting. That's like the big conflict that could send us into World War III is China invading Taiwan.
We need less wars. Can it be simple? Can't we just see Bitcoin go up? Less wars. Everyone gets along. I mean, AI is coming too. We're all going to be screwed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like we need less wars. But I think that this is just hardball negotiations, and I actually like it. A lot of countries, I think 70 countries have called to negotiate.
Yeah.
China not being one of them, but I do believe that China will bend the knee first, and we'll come to some sort of agreement. And when we do come to some sort of agreement, we're going to start to see crypto absolutely pump as well. Once these tariffs are resolved, we're going to see the markets turn around very, very quickly.
I hope so. But when I think about China, I think about like when you're backing like a dog into like a corner. Where are they going to go? Like where you got to crash out. Hey, this is for survival. So when you give a person like no other options, the option is to fight and bite. And I think that if you think about it, and if China is on this like trajectory to like dominate the United States, which a lot of people think, some people don't. Like, when's the best time to attack and finish and make sure they can't dominate the world? It's probably sooner than later, before before they have a huge Navy and a good Air Force and stuff. Because that's what we have over them: better Navy, better Air Force. Some people say better technology. So how
do you fight a war when you're so far away, though? It's like it's a 12-hour plane ride.
We got LA. Well, we have bases in South Korea.
We do, but what about them? I know they're close with Cuba.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now, legit, like geographically, I mean, we have the advantage. That's why, they feel probably backed into a corner.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Let's take a quick look at the stock market. See how we've recovered today, because we actually have some green, which is something that we like to see. So the Dow Jones is up 2% on the day.
Yeah, we like that.
Up 787 basis points yesterday. The Dow Jones was trading at 37,600, and we're back up to 38,500. When you look on the year, Rodney, for the past 365 calendar days, right, the stock market's only down 0.36%. So not that bad in terms of the past year. The S&P as well is up over 99 points today, up about 2%. Earlier this week, we saw the S&P down to 4,953. We had 3 bad days in a row, and we're recovering nicely to 5,170. And you can see same thing with the S&P, only down 32 basis points on the entire year, Rodney.
Yeah.
And we're actually up. Once we get to April 22nd, we're actually going to be up on the year, only down 0.65% on the year. And then the Russell 2000, which is a pretty big indicator for crypto, is actually up 35 points today, up 2% on the day. And when it comes to the entire year, actually down significantly. On April 8th, it was at $2,000, but it did fall down to 1947. So the Russell 2000 not doing too bad. So nice to see the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the Russell recover a little bit today. We talked about this yesterday. It's like anytime in history, even C19, it's like you have these massive liquidity pulls, and then the markets do recover at some point, right? And that's what we're seeing with the stock markets. Crypto, though, getting hit a little bit harder this morning, down to 78,000. So stocks are recovering. Crypto not necessarily recovering just yet. But as we saw, that's kind of what happens, right? They don't necessarily move hand in hand. But they do have some sort of an impact on each other.
Yeah, we thought it decoupled, but it, like, logically, if you think about it, like, it's a risk-on asset right now. And the truth is, when there's economic uncertainty, people need cash, you know? And the truth is, not a lot of people can afford to hold through bearish times and not knowing, like, how the market's going to look, you know, a year from now, you know? So, yeah, I mean, crypto's interesting, right? Crypto's an interesting spot right now. We did get another fold, which I thought was pretty interesting. So obviously this was the news this morning, so the stock market is looking pretty good. So just in, $2 trillion was added to the U.S. stock market at open. You know what's crazy about the last Black Monday? Apparently globally, $1 trillion was wiped out, which if you think about it now, like, that's nothing.
It's nothing. I think we had right around 4 or 5 trillion wiped out, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the markets are getting much bigger, right? I mean, the market cap size, right? Like if you look at the Dow Jones, even in C19, I think that we hit levels like 16,000. Let's go ahead and see 2020.
Mr. Brick makes a very, very good point. He says, military-wise, I'm sure we are vastly superior and we could take a larger economic hit than they can if there was a war. But then he says, I don't think it would come to that, though. It would be an economic war. Maybe this is the start of the economic war, you know?
Yeah. And I think it is. It's a trade war. But pull this up. Like, this is why you just have to hold. That's it. That's why we tweet it all the time.
Yeah.
This was C19, March 20th, when like it went into announcement. The Dow Jones fell down to 19,000. It's more than doubled since then. So in just 5 years, the stock market has more than doubled since then. So we had this small dip. I mean, look, just look at this chart. I mean, it's just continuously up and to the right. This was the 2008 crash. Everybody panicked. The Dow Jones dropped down below 10,000 basis points, 8,200. It's more than 4x, almost 5x since this point. So got to hold, Roddy. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, got to hold. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty going on in the world, you know?
Yeah, a lot of weird shit, you know, with wars and trade wars and tariffs. But I do think it will shake itself out. I'm just confident, you know, from 2016 to 2020, it was probably the best years that America's seen since Ronald Reagan was in office. And I think that we will have a very, very, very bullish and prosperous 2025 to 2028, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we got to get through all this BS. You know what I mean? What's up, John Paul? So more BRICS news. So Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu threatens Iran with military action. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, either a deal or military action. Now, this is interesting too, because it's again, they get a nuclear weapon. Israel's right there. I'm sure they would use it.
Yeah.
You know, take them out or face extinction pretty much, you know?
Yeah, it's got to be done. You know, at the end of the day, it does. But how do you feel if you're Iran? You're like, well, Israel has nuclear weapons. The U.S. doesn't. We can't have them. Like, so.
Do they have nuclear weapons, Israel?
Israel, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I think North Korea does as well. I think.
For sure, North Korea does. Yeah, big.
Why did we allow them to have it?
Because I think that they're so close to South Korea, and like if we did any kind of invasion there, they would literally murk South Korea. I think they would kill each other, right? And then obviously China would get involved if there was some sort of military action with North Korea. The
whole world's so crazy. It's like, why can't we just have peace? You know, like why do we have to have these crazy leaders of countries having nuclear weapons that can wipe our whole planet out? I would imagine that's how the world goes. Like, you know, I would imagine there's not going to be like an asteroid that hits us or dinosaurs or some massive tsunami or flood.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably going to be one crazy leader, you know, who has nukes that just drops them on the world, and that just starts a cascading effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, if we start, you know, everything you watch online, I mean, who knows if it actually comes into play? Like, it would destroy more than half the population, easy, probably like 60% of the population. And there's nothing you can really do. It's like we can retaliate and just kill each other. You know, you got the nuclear, the blast, the fallout, the winter. Like, a lot of people are going to be dead, and most people can't survive, you know, for a prolonged amount of time. You know, with basic survival gear. There's not a lot of preppers and stuff. Like, we have ammo and stuff, but we don't have like ways to distill water and canned goods and stuff like that.
It'd be over. It would be over.
Yeah. For us, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. For us that like go to the grocery store. If you like can go out and hunt, you know, and you can like, you know how to skin, you know, whatever, get your food from an animal, you'll probably be fine. You'll survive a little bit longer. Dave Live brings up a good point. He says Trump had to hit the ground running on this term since he only has 4 years to implement all his changes, not the 8 consecutive years where he could take his time. And he did hit the ground running, right? We understand that. Like he hit the ground running in his first 100 days. He's done a lot.
Yeah, I've always
done
been
a lot.
working. Yeah, I mean, who's a harder worker than that guy? And if you think about it, like we've always said before, Jake, like the path we were on wasn't sustainable and was going to lead to disaster. So we had to do
It was the fall of the empire path, right? Like you look at the Roman Empire, like when did they start falling? It's when they started having multiple genders and sexes, and they had an abundance of everything. They spread their military too thin. That's when they started falling. That's kind of what we were going through. Like America, I think a lot of people have forgot, but like, dude, America 1 year ago today was in a weird spot.
Yeah. It's just strange,
Strange. It was like, you weren't even proud to be an American back then. It was just like there was literally there was literally men that were winning competitions in women's NCAA sports. I thought they got outlawed.
No, I mean, there was like a golf tournament. There was a fencing tournament where a lady decided to take a knee and not fight her opponent.
I would do the same shit.
It's a dude, whole ass nigga. And then there was a disc golf tournament, like a frisbee golf, and some lady sat out. The dude moved on, and like there's like a clip of her playing, and then some girl throws it and doesn't like have a lot of oomph. And then the dude throws it, and the commentator's like, "Wow, like she really got some muscle behind that." It's like, yeah, because she's a dude, she's a
dick. And high testosterone levels.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They should outlaw. I mean, that never made sense. It's like they should honestly, if they want that, they should just do it in UFC. That's what they should do. They should have John Jones fight the heavyweight chick and see how it works out, right? That would be a perfect example. That's fairness, right? That's what you want.
You know what? The thing is, like, there's a lot of, because obviously, states are different, mayors are different, governors are different, and they're fighting. They don't want to implement these laws. It's like sanctuary cities, and the mayor of Boston, like, she doesn't want. She's absolutely going against what Trump wants. Like they want something. This new administration wants something. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to ban women from men's sport or men from women's sports.
It's all politics. I will say, yesterday I went to a coffee shop. There was tampons in the bathroom. It was a multi-gender bathroom, and I was like, oh, that's not that weird, right? But I guess if you do it specifically in men's bathrooms, like tampon Tim, it is a little bit strange. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
No man needs to use tampons.
Yeah.
No man.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some news out of BlackRock. They made two comments this morning that's kind of scaring, but giving people some hope. So Justin, world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, says it's increasingly cautious about U.S. stocks. But on the flip side to that, BlackRock says it's optimistic about stocks long-term and believes AI can help the U.S. reclaim global leadership. And I like that because it's like, hey, we're cautious right now, but like you showed that chart in the grand scheme of things, like we're probably going to be okay.
We're going to be okay. I like how he says AI because that was the thing that really started to crash the markets back in January.
Oh, yeah.
DeepSeek from China came out with a ChatGPT, and I think it cost like $500 million, whereas ChatGPT is valued at like $8 billion or something like that. So that's what really started to crash the markets was AI. I will say I do use ChatGPT all the time now. Do you use ChatGPT?
I think it's better than Grok. Grok is kind of trash compared to ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is great though, dude.
Yeah, it's way better.
Like,
yeah.
I was asking a question yesterday about heart rate variability and like what factors you need, like what causes it. Because my Oura Ring was telling me I'm low, but I read some stuff about Oura Ring and saying it's not 100% accurate. But it listed out everything that heart rate variability is, how you can improve it, and then it actually wrote me a detailed plan of how to improve my heart rate variability. Like ChatGPT is too good. It's kind of crazy how good it is.
It's really good. And just talk to it about advice, like just life advice. It's like super like, honestly, there's things like it censors. I'm not a game programmer, and I don't, because I guess people say that Grok is good for like creating games and stuff like that. Like I watched some AI guy who talks about how the newest Grok is like the best. But like when it comes to chatting with something like clean interface, I just like ChatGPT a little better.
I think it's much, much better. I've used Grok, but I don't know. Yeah, ChatGPT is like, he's pretty based,
Yeah. You said it's under readiness. Mine's like low on my watch. Let me see. I put it on last night and I had bad sleep. So yeah,
but go to your past. Go to your just go to your history. Go back to when you were wearing it like consistently. Mine's like 30 to 37, which
about 30 to 37 ish. Yeah.
What is it honestly?
No, it says today it's 31.
I think that's pretty normal, but it says like a elite athlete is over 100. Healthy adults are like 30 to 70, and then like below average adults. So I was like, there's no way. I mean, I ran 8 miles. I've been sleeping for 8 hours a night. But a lot of the factors I think for your heart rate variability is stress as well.
Yeah.
My stress.
What's your resting heart rate?
Probably in the 40s or 50s.
Mine's 40. Yeah, 49.
I don't have my phone on me, but yeah, usually like in the 40s or 50s. If I like, but that's the thing. If I take Adderall or like do any type of stimulants, it's up in like the 70s, 80s, 90s. So that's how I know. I'm like, okay, this is not good for you, right? If I go out, that's why everyone, you should definitely get an Oura Ring or a Whoop strap. If I go out and I have like 2 or 3 drinks, my sleep is crushed. My recovery is so bad. It just helps you kind of like better formulate your lifestyle. But I've been on a roll lately. Good thing I get to go ruin it this weekend, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Honestly, I've been like, and I don't want to sound like a schnob or anything, but I had like a little health scare and I've been staying in, saying no to fun things, which sucks, but finally getting results, man. It feels good.
That's good.
Feels good.
Can you tell, chat? Look how good Rodney looks. Put him full screen. Look how good this.
The fuck? Yeah, I mean, I've lost like 25 pounds ish.
That's great, bro. That probably feels so good.
No drugs, alcohol. I'm trying to sleep as much. I think I'm definitely overtraining, but it is what it is. We'll turn up when we take a little trip here soon.
Absolutely. Crypto Gotti. I pulled it up. Coach pulled it down. Yeah, when I take Coke, my resting heart rate is also in the 70s. I never heard someone say they take it.
Yeah,
you usually do it.
You can take
snort it. Take it.
Take it in the nose. Take it up your nose. Yeah. Coke is
Gotti, Dijon.
What's up, Javi? Yeah. But it is good. It is good to feel healthy and feel good. And I'm going to be 35 in August. I think I'm just like turning a point in my life where I just don't want to rage that much. I like a rager. I just don't feel like I want to do it. Like I'd rather just stay in and sleep.
I'm the same way.
Old guy. Yeah. No, Jake needs to be out with people. You need to be
like it.
Involved. You're extremely extroverted. It's personality traits.
I like it. I think but sometimes I do. Like after a long week, I like to chill, put on a movie, relax, but I like to hang out with friends. Like for me, I would rather like play video games with the homies than go out to a bar right now at this current stage. But I am getting much older. I'm 29.
Yeah, you're feeling it, huh?
Got to be 30.
Yeah.
Now Crypto in the chat. That's the time, Roddy. I am 35.
Yeah, I just like I'm like, I'd rather just wake up early and train or something. Or
good. That's the right lifestyle, dude. Now we got to get you to start popping out some babies. That's next. We need some little Rodneys. Who's little Rodneys running around?
Who's the lucky woman? No, baby. No babies. I'm too selfish right now.
Yeah. Soon.
I didn't want a dog. I can't have a baby.
I want a couple babies. I want like 10. I want 10 little Jakes running around.
Just slinging dick, huh? Just torqued all day, every day.
That's what I want. Daniel Crypto says, glad you're feeling better, bro. C90 FTW says locked in. What's up, C90?
What's up, C90?
Just turned 30. It sucks. Not really.
We have some crypto news, so this is interesting. So Ledger says, you asked, we sweeted up.
Nice.
So check this out. So Ledger's going to be supporting Sweet.
Good. Bounce. Okay, Ledger.
Don't get me wrong, Jake. We're going to have some fucking ragers, but I need to recoup first. Get back in shape.
Doesn't that just bring it back right there? Good video, though.
Oh, yeah.
Banger song. Swee's at $2. Sweet is in the extreme buy mode for me. I think that we're going to see a $20, $30 Sweet at some point in our lifetime. Probably not this cycle, but we will see a massive recovery for Sweet here pretty soon.
And then we had some news that Canary has filed for a Sweet ETF with CBOE, so nice. And then we also have another piece of news that says breaking pump fund deposits 84,000 sold worth $9.32 million in the Kraken exchange. Why? What's going on with that?
That's just revenue. They've been doing it. That's like their revenue. That's
what they really?
Made. So I'm happy for them. I mean, they killed it.
Are they? Oh, so maybe like they're cashing out, or
that's like revenue from the platform that they make in.
Oh, okay.
I paid it on Pump Fund a lot, but at this point in my life, almost 30, I'll say congrats to them. They've made a lot of money. I could have sat here with Rodney and said, hey, let's create a launch pad that everyone's going to launch meme coins on and make it very simple. We didn't. They did. Celebrate them. Good or bad for crypto? Probably bad.
Whatever.
Good for them for making
people
money.
Love it. Say what they want. The only reason why they're making money is because people love it.
Absolutely. And HB says, can you give a shout out to my wife, Shanna? She's an awesome chef.
Shanna. Hey, what's up, Shanna?
Good morning, congrats on being an awesome chef. Do me a favor. Do Rodney a favor tonight. Cook HB some grub. This guy deserves it.
HB, what do you want? Steak frites. Nice little side of what is that called? It's a broccolini. A little bit of butter. Shout out to Shanna. We do have some press secretary, or excuse me, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talking shit about China. They're saying they're playing with a pair of twos, which I think is fucking hilarious.
President Trump has maximum negotiating leverage right here, right now. And I think it would be a mistake for anyone to think otherwise. And as I said, many of our trading partners, they have queued up and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated, and they will get priority in the queue. I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of twos. Traditionally, if you look at
What's up? Oh,
I think that was MSNBC
history
talking.
of the trade negotiations, we are the deficit country. So what do we lose by the Chinese raising tariffs on us? We export 1/5 to them of what they export to us. So that is a losing hand for them.
Ooh.
I agree. We were saying this yesterday.
Yeah.
We import. We're their biggest importer.
Yeah.
We import over $1 trillion more. Like, we have the upper hand, right? It's kind of like if you're an employee at a company, this is going to be an example I just pulled off the top of my head. You're an employee at a company, right? You're making let's just say $100,000 per year. And then your CEO is making $500,000 a year, 5 times more. He's probably bringing in 5 times as much value. And you think as the $100,000 a year employee, you have all the negotiation power. It's not how it works. You're replaceable. That guy is not. The CEO is not. And that's kind of, I feel like the U.S. is the CEO. We're bringing in over $1.1 trillion more than China. We have all the negotiation power. We really do at this point, right?
Yeah.
Now, the negotiations are going to be tough. They're going to be hard. It's going to be hardball, right? But I promise you, China will bend the knee before Donald Trump does. And they're actually kind of going this interesting route where they're doing like this threat route, right? So they say, China slams U.S. President Trump and warns intimidation, threats, and blackmail aren't the way to engage with China. Sounds like my ex-girlfriend. China and the rest of the world are determined to fight a trade war to the end. It really does. It's like,
don't fucking do that.
we're going the emotional route, right? While Trump's shitting on China, and he's keeping it real. So I'm actually happy. I know these tariffs have sucked for the stock market, which is recovering. I know these tariffs have sucked with crypto, which they will recover. But I'm glad that we have a president that is putting America first, that is not backing down, and is a true leader with some fucking balls. And that's what we need, Rodney. America is not to be fucked with.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I like the most, Jake, is watching CNN have to talk about how good Trump is actually doing in this presidency. Yeah.
No,
when you look at the numbers, he's actually doing really well. So check this out. This is CNN.
I don't believe it.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders.
CNN?
He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is, whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay. So Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents, compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
So completely differently, clearly they agree, but is it taken a step further? Do the people think he has too much, but he's taken too much power?
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount. Then
What would you say?
Who say too little. So you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount.
Definitely not too little.
That's important. Yeah,
What do you think? You think too much? And let us know in the chat, guys. Do you think that Donald Trump has too much power, the right amount, or too little right now?
I think that
Right amount for me. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, because I think that he's making drastic changes when we need it. And it's going to hurt. Like, it's going to hurt, Change is going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a little bit until it's better,
Yeah. I think he has the right amount of power. I mean, he can't get everything that he wants done, right? And you're seeing like some judges push back. We have Josh Johnson saying too little. Looks like AB in power says balanced. Sacco Hunt, what's your answer? He says, in Trump we trust. polls are easily rigged. They are, but this is a CNN poll. Like you would expect that a CNN poll.
Well, yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, there's so many polls to go off of. When you take the average and you look at Trump's approval rating, it's actually not terrible.
What is it?
I gotta say the numbers. I was watching some news channel about this is like 3 or 4 weeks ago when his approval rating came out, and there's some polls that said that really approve, and there's some polls that look, you could say, bad. But the way that some of these media outlets, like even Fox News, obviously, they kind of skew them to make it pretty much to fit their narrative, because polls are all different. It's like the election. Like, I mean, some people had him up like down 13 points in Iowa. You know
that they actually, I was listening to a podcast, and they actually had the accurate results. Like they saw after the polls that Biden was losing by about 49 states. They put Kamala in. They knew that she was losing big, but like, why don't we get the accurate polls, right? Why don't we get these? Like, it's the closest race in presidential history. Like, why do we get the fucked up polls?
I think it's because because they want to kind of demoralize viewers. Like, hey, Trump's up 13 points in Iowa. Why go out and vote?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah.
But I think it might do the opposite, So,
and to encourage people to go vote. That was a fun day, though. Election day was a fun day. We put our heart and soul into Donnie J.
Yeah, we did. Got suits.
We did.
Got suits. Jake, this is a special place in your heart. So Italian Prime Minister Meloni will travel to the U.S. to negotiate tariffs with President Trump. Smash
I
or
love
pass?
her. I love her.
Okay.
Yeah, I love her.
Of course you do.
Because she's very far right leaning, very strong woman in power. And I know a lot of people in Italy, a lot of wealthy people in Italy, and they like her. And a lot of wealthy people in Italy also like President Trump. So I like Giorgia Meloni. She was kind of speaking out against the tariffs in a sense, right? She didn't think that they were smart. She had some quotes where I don't know exactly what she said, but she wasn't in favor of the tariffs and taxing EU. But her coming to U.S. to negotiate tariffs with President Trump, Rodney, is a good thing for the United States and a good thing for the EU as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. It's good to see people coming out here and and trying to negotiate things and making sure making sure that things are handled and to fix it, because obviously United States, global leader, if we start sinking, everybody else sinks at a faster pace. So
yeah, the A-Fly says Elon likes her too. Elon does like her a little bit. I'll tell you that much. He likes her a little bit. Oh, what's Elon saying?
Yeah, Elon says they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud, and they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. I guess they're bad people, and bad people will do bad things. So he was asked about it.
I love how he's a genius and he just simplifies everything.
Oh yeah.
Working on helping the blind see and all of these other things, is it really come down to the basic, you're aligned with President Donald Trump, who also is a friend of mine, and that you have identified well over $100 billion in waste, fraud, abuse that our federal government never should have been spending? Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, it turns out when you take away people's, the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud, and they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. And well, I guess they're bad people. Bad people do bad things.
Well, I know that overall, financially, in the end, yes, they can hurt you, but the people that they'll end up hurting are the people that work in your dealerships that may risk losing their job. The people that they may end up hurting are the people that work on the line and build the Teslas. They're going to be the ones hurt. And that to me is despicable on their part, just because they might have a political difference or perceived political difference. Let me.
He looks tired.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, actually, I don't think he looks too bad. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you think about it, it's like it's a lot on his plate, and now they're actually like it's the media machine is brutal. Get you in there, spit you out. You know what I mean? It's just nuts.
Yeah. Did people stop vandalizing Teslas and Tesla charging stations? I think it kind of died down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
After they started putting people in jail for 20 years, people were like, okay, I'll probably think twice about doing that.
Fuck them. Yeah. Like, imagine that you're just a hardworking American getting your car vandalized because it's some fucking dumb fuck. It's crazy. So Samuel says Trump enacting the Aliens Act of 1973 is not a good thing. I get it. But when a motherfucker has MS-13 tattooed on his body, it's like you have some fucking dumb dork judge saying, oh, you can't deport those people. Get them out of here. I'm sorry. Get them out. Have some common sense. Have some common sense. It's just
people were upset that they deported people to El Salvador that were not in Tren de Aragua. They were in MS-13, and people were upset. Like, bring them back into the country. It's like, no, we don't want them here either.
Fucking retard. Yeah, it's retarded. It's actually retarded. How
about the border though? Like that was, I think, the number one reason Donald Trump won, because he was going to stop the inflow of illegal immigrants on the border. And I think we've had the lowest back-to-back months in history. There's been like 16,000 people that were caught crossing or trying to cross. in February or in December or November, it was like over 200,000 each when Biden was in office. So people are not coming to the country, which is good. They're cleaning up the streets. Cash Patel is doing a good job. And we're really seeing the U.S. government like reshape in front of our eyes. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I get it's a slippery slope when, people take the executive order, have the executive order and do things without the checks and balances. I do get that, because that's why we have different branches of the government. And so one person doesn't have all that power. But at the same time, it's like obvious, like common sense needs to come into play with some of these things,
Yep. Let's take a look at Anthony Pompliano's tweet here. He's talking about why he's so bullish on tariffs. He says, because I spent the last 2 years visiting and talking with companies in the industrial and manufacturing industry, PE operator, which is just a guy, and I have gone to or spoken at length with the following businesses: highway sign manufacturer in South Florida, rock crusher manufacturer in South Carolina, electric harness business in Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky, traffic cone business in Pennsylvania. The line goes on and on. The list goes on and on. I have also invested in or spent time talking with CEOs of the following: space manufacturing, home builders, energy companies, automated extraction. This is not a comprehensive list, but it should give you an idea of the variety of businesses. The conclusion is loud and clear. The industrial and manufacturing industry is excited about the tariffs. They want to build solutions for America's problems. If we give them a chance to build, they will deliver for our country. Most people in finance need to go talk to these businesses that policies are aimed at helping. Thoughts?
Okay, let me see. Not comprehensive list. We should have the idea very clear. The industrial manufacturing industry is excited about tariffs. They want to build solutions for America's problem. We give them the chance to build. Yeah, I just think that, like we said before, like this is like the big goal, but doing things so like bam, like right out of the blue could hurt people because it takes a while to transition, to get things going, build new buildings, hire new workers.
You got to do it though. You got to do it at some point, like in the long run, in 20 years, we'll be grateful that we did it now. Right.
Yeah. It's just saying, fuck these guys and think about the people in the future.
Everything should be built in America, right? Like we shouldn't rely on other countries to get our pharmaceuticals and our drugs from people. All of our clothes, medicine, the list goes on and on. Semiconductors, like we should be strong here in America. So it's going to be some short-term pain, but I think that we're going to look back on these tariffs as a really, really great thing. I really do. We're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think so too. It feels like things are working out. Let's just hope, because all the experts that I'm listening to, they're like, hey man, we're going to see. Let's just see. Let's just see, because we had to get the country back on track. That's the truth.
Yeah, it's the greatest country in the world, and it was going in the wrong direction. Now
I just want my bags to pump, Jake. I just want my bags to pump.
I know. I think they will. I think that we have one more strong leg up. I mean, Bitcoin and crypto is holding very, very strong, even though we're down significantly. And I mean, we're still on track. If you believe in the 4-year cycle, we're still on track. But who knows? This is a different cycle than ever before, right?
Yeah.
With Donald Trump in office. Who knows if the 4-year cycle is even a thing? Who knows if the stock markets just pump all the way until the end of his term, right? Maybe we don't even have a bear market for stocks and crypto. Maybe it just pumps all the way to the end of his term. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but all I know is, it should get pretty exciting. We've talked about it multiple times. We'll say it again. Donald Trump will not leave the stock market, the crypto markets, and the economy worse than when he took office.
I think we're going to look pretty good at the end of this. I think so. I think so.
And the question is, what happens next? What happens in 4 years? Does JD Vance run for office? Does Gavin Newsom win? What happens in 4 years?
Well, I think Gavin Newsom's probably the front runner. I mean, who else do they have? You can't do AOC or Bernie Sanders. I just don't think the establishment will let him win. And I don't know. I think free shit. Everyone gets free. We know that Bernie Sanders is taking donations.
He's too old to run, bro. He's he's too old to run. They did him dirty. Is there ever a day that AOC wins and is the president of the United States?
Absolutely fucking not. I think people have like common sense. She is such a dunce, but it is what it is. It is what it is with that situation. I think Gavin Newsom's got to be the front runner. And that's why he's having, Republican people there. He's talking with them and stuff like that, and he talked about how he shouldn't have, like obviously a popular thing was you shouldn't have transgender athletes. And I think most people would think that
he started it.
Yeah.
He signed the bill. Yeah. He's just a good talker, though. Gavin Newsom, like he can lie through his teeth and make it seem like he never said that.
Silver tongue devil.
He is a good talker. It's actually an impressive skill, right? He's a perfect politician.
Could AOC as president be fucking nuts?
What would happen, bro?
Not my president. I'll be making videos like that. Not my president.
Or what's her name? Janet Crockett.
Oh
Jasmine
my
Crockett?
fucking God. No, please, God.
Yeah, that lady's crazy.
Just like
cursing all the time.
Yeah, just unprofessional. I mean, Donald Trump's kind of unprofessional too. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
He's pretty funny. I'm actually having fun, like reporting on the news. Like when Biden was in office, bro, all we did was like, oh,
Boring.
Biden didn't talk. Where is Biden? There's a stunt double. Like there was like literally a Biden stunt double.
What we think, we don't know. We don't know if it was a
I
stunt
mean, he came in
double.
bigger. Have we heard anything from Biden? Like, where is he? What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Chilling.
Well, he's playing old as hell. Put the man in the fucking, yeah. Oh, geez, we have some crazy people. See, I cannot. Some politics just piss me off so much, dude. I just cannot sometimes with these people. I just cannot, dude. People just make everything about race. God damn. Jake, did you hear about that white? Speaking of race, did you hear about that white student who got stabbed by that black guy at a track meet?
I did.
There's a GoFundMe for the black student.
Yeah, I saw a couple things. I saw and the media can spin it, right? I saw one image. It was like the white kid, and first off, we should say like killing someone because they told you not being
stupid
under a tent is ridiculous. But even bringing a knife to a track meet is stupid. But
crazy. It's
just funny. I saw like two different narratives, right? A white guy posted something and a black guy posted something, and a white guy shows the student, the white kid, like 4.0 student wearing a suit, all of his accolades, and then it showed the black kid with like guns, kind of looking like a thug. And then there was another image showing the white kid with guns, like on a hunting trip. And then there was the black kid wearing a suit and tie, like looking good. They're like, so what do you really believe? At the end of the day, you can't kill somebody because they told you not to stand under a tent. But the media does a really good job at spinning it. What's your take on that?
I'd like to know, first of all, regardless, the bottom line is you cannot stab people at all, ever, ever, never, ever, for anything, even if words were said, even if people put their hands on you. Because I was reading the police report, and I guess immediately after the kid said he put his hands on me, and he ran and those sorts of things. And when he ran away and the cop caught him and those sorts of things. I think a lot of people just like, yeah, stab that fucking white kid. Yeah. Which is, and there's a lot of people that said, oh my God, all black guys are thugs. And when you do talk about crime rates, there are interesting statistics about how only black men are 8% of the population, but contribute to a lot of the violent crime, which it's a whole per capita thing, and people hate to hear that. But I mean, numbers are numbers, you know what I mean? At the same time, it's interesting, it's interesting, and I don't know. I think a lot of it's culture. It's an interesting situation. It's tough to talk about. Yeah.
It's very sad though. I mean, this kid, the guy died right in his brother's arms.
Yeah, cannot stab people. Write that down. Yes.
Cannot stab people. Yeah, you can't do that, and you shouldn't bring a knife to attract me, right?
Yeah.
And if someone told me like, "Hey, you're in the wrong tent," I'd leave tents. I'd move tents. I wouldn't escalate it.
Hey, you fucking bitch boy, fucking monkey, get the fuck out of my tent, you little bitch.
I mean, you never know.
Shoves them, punches them.
Yeah.
Different.
That's warranted, but
we don't know if that happened. No, we don't. What people are saying, which I don't believe anything out of face value. I wish there was a fucking camera there. I want to know what really happened. Bottom line is you can't stab people. Fight back, defend yourself, throw down, fisticuffs. That's high school. People fight. It happens. But stabbing somebody in the heart's crazy.
Yeah, stabbing.
Unless he's getting jumped, beat to death, and stuff like that. But I had no marks on him. So
and he passed away in his brother's arms, which is probably I think it's his twin brother, which is just like devastating. Yeah.
And there is a difference between a kid on a hunting trip and a kid just holding up a fucking AK-47 for sure for Facebook. You know what I mean? Yep. So let's talk about that. That's true.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's wild. Let's wrap it up with this comment from Mr. Brick. He says, "I was at the MSG Trump rally. The ride has tons of amazing speakers and good people to run. We'll find a good candidate. I'm not worried too much. As long as the last 2 years under Trump are really good, we should be fine." I agree. If the last 2 years under Trump are good, I think JD Vance is a layup. He's very, very likable.
Yeah.
And the American people seem to support him to a very, very good degree. See the other track meet where a lady bonked her competition, the head with the bond. I saw that.
I saw that too. That's crazy. Yeah.
What's going on with track meets? Are track meets not safe anymore?
I guess.
Can't go to track meets anymore. And we'll wrap it up looking at the cryptocurrency markets here today. Let me go ahead and update this, get it refreshed. 78,371 Bitcoin, 1529 ETH, which is wild. We were over $4,000 earlier this year. XRP at $1.90, BNB at 559, and Solana at 107. So for me, some pretty good buying opportunities. And the Dow Jones looking pretty strong, up 2.38% of the day.
Yeah,
900 basis points. The S&P is up over 106 basis points, 2% of the day. And the Russell 2000 is up 1.34% on the day, back up 24 basis points. So That's it, Ronnie. That's a show. And we won't be live tomorrow. At least I won't be.
Yeah.
I'll be on a flight to California. So we will be live later in the week, guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate you guys.
Markets are recovering. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace, guys.